Hi, I'm Jason Klama, the host of the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. All of 2017, I'm listening to a comedy album a day. You can watch the full video at youtube.com, that place, /comedy on vinyl. And subscribe there, too, if you would. This is number 51, a couple albums behind, but I am going to play catch-up, especially since this is an important month. So this is Women's History Month. I can't speak, I swear to God. Women's History Month. And so I'm going to endeavor to, well, first of all, I'm going to listen to all of every comedy album I have by a woman anyway, but why not listen to them all in order? And if I don't have enough, A, that sucks. B, I'm going to hunt down more. That's just what's going to happen. So the first one I'm going to pick is Rusty Warren's first album, Songs for Sinners. I picked this for a number of reasons. Number one, I mean, she's the first name I think of if I think of a female comedian. I adore her. She's a friend of mine. Interviewed her in a 2-part episode of the Comedy on Vinyl podcast a couple years back. You should listen to it. It's a lot of fun. And we get deep, which is great because if you listen to this, I mean, she's literally singing things like limericks and stuff. Like she's using limericks and putting them in songs. And she sings a lot about sex is mostly what she sings about. And the great thing about that is, that's one of the reasons she never got on the Tonight Show. Is that because that somehow too risque, yet, think of all the dudes that were on his show that were probably saying plenty of filthy things in front of and behind the scenes, and yet she's doing, this is 1959, by the way, like this, it's cute, like at worst it's cute, in terms of the material. In terms of importance, it's not cute. In terms of importance, this is integral to the sexual revolution. Especially that this is coming out in 1959. She's doing things, she's asking how many women in the audience are virgins just to get people to open up. She's doing this bit where she does a lot of sing-alongs, a lot of audience participation, call and response type of stuff. And one of the things, she sings and everybody does the chorus. She's like, okay, now all the virgins sing. And, anybody who's had sex, you sing. None of the women sing. All the men who are over sex sing, and as many of the guys possible sing. She then picks on the male ego, but also says at least they're honest. And it's all these attempts. This is 45 minutes of one woman trying to get these other women just to open up and just say something, just acknowledge that sex is being talked about in the room. Everybody's laughing, and that's important to sort of get the conversation going, but she also demands this audience participation and doesn't shame anybody, but definitely has fun with the idea. If you're not going to talk about it, well, then she's free to make all the assumptions she wants. She's going to assume that you're sleeping around, as a joke. And that's the other thing, too. She can get away with a little bit more as a woman because, frankly, none of it is aggressive and creepy. She's just making the funniest joke she possibly can. There's nothing, again, there's no established female creepiness factor to go off of. If it's a dude doing this, just like, okay, I don't know, it wouldn't be that interesting. And also she's a great singer. That's one thing that I feel like people don't appreciate enough, is that Rusty Warren is a wonderful singer, and on top of that, just a brilliant comedian. And like these jokes, they're obviously mostly rehearsed. She's obviously got a bunch of stuff in her back pocket. She's got like this kind of Catskills shtick in her back pocket ready to go, but like a dirty version of it. And you wouldn't even call it she does Working Blue. It's just fun. These were party albums because they're things that you're not going to play with your kids are in the room. That's the worst that they were. I want to look at my notes because I did take some notes on this. It's some of the things that are most important here is that, well, first of all, what she does is mostly crowd work. She sings, but I think there are maybe 6 songs on the whole album. Some of them are very long, and again, they got the audience participation element to them as well, but it's mostly crowd work, and she's just playing with the audience. She doesn't even pick out that many individual people that much. It's hard to say if she even aims any of it at any particular people, but she at least pretends that she does, but it's all, again, trying to get people to open up and talk. There's no particular agenda, at least in terms of the way it's performed. But that's also why it's important, because that's how a good subversive comedian gets their point in. Let's see here. There's some solid, just silly old dirty jokes. My favorite on there was probably lights out at 9, candles out at 11. That's a solid joke. This, it was all recorded in Phoenix, and it seems like, I don't know how long her show was. Maybe it was an hour. It was cut down, but it does seem like for the most part it flows. There are one or two times when either there's an edit, or unfortunately, because I have a very shitty copy of this on vinyl, I'm going to get a better copy soon. I didn't realize how bad it was. Either edits or big pops in my copy, because there are a few skips and things like that. But yeah, I mean, the big thing is it's an entire night dedicated to getting women to sing about and then maybe talk about sex, and definitely think about it. It doesn't have to just be this thing that is for the bedroom. It's a thing you're allowed to talk about, and definitely allowed to talk about with your partner. And if, she's going to get you to consider it in public, the most embarrassing thing possible, as she pointed out, like her biggest audience were housewives, undersexed housewives probably. And some of them, if they're sexed enough or oversexed, they still weren't talking about it. And it was important to do that. I'm going to be talking about every album I have of hers. I realized tonight I'm missing 4 or 5 of them, so I'm going to be picking those up. They're all very similar, but this is definitely her first. And it's going to be interesting to listen to how she evolved as a comedian. And, all the way through the 70s. For 18 years, she's releasing album after album after album after album. And it's just so much fun. And it's just so good spirit. It's just so fun. So it blows my mind that anybody would ever think she's actually genuinely dirty. She just talks about some taboo subjects. And today, this is tame. Absolutely tame. Follow us at Comedy on Vinyl wherever you can. Rusty's not on Twitter. She is on Facebook, though. You can find Rusty on Facebook. She's got an archivist who works on a lot of her stuff. She has some... every once in a while you can get some fun stuff from her archives. You can still buy her albums on her website, if I'm not mistaken, as MP3s and stuff. She's pretty good on this. So I first talked to her by email about 15 years ago. She's always been on top of it. So Rusty's awesome, and you should check out her albums and check out the episode I did with her. That is about it. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, have a good thing.